Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or wherever you are. Holy moly, there's a lot of people in here. Welcome to the stream. There are a lot of people to say hi to, so let me just say hi, everybody. I appreciate everybody that's here. Let me do something here. I don't know if you care or not, Kilo, but I wanted to get a few moderators in here if you guys don't mind. I know some of you are switching over to other streams at some point, but... So, today, we are going to go over a little bit of the assembly of Stealthburner, Clockwork2. We're going to go through getting it set up on the Trident here. Yeah, all the people that are just joining, hi. First of all, so everybody saw this live stream yesterday. We have a new fan shroud, Stealthburner, along with all the parts for a new extruder clockwork. So, as was mentioned in the stream yesterday, all these files will be released before Christmas with a bill of materials and a beta manual. So this is going to get released as a beta, an open beta. Anybody can download it or whatever. But that's going to give us more time for not having to concentrate on this coming up on the holidays. So give us more time to get any little bits of last minute feedback, anything going forward with a official release sometime after the first of the year. So with that, there's a few things we're going to do. We need to run some wires for the NeoPixel setup in the assembly, and then we're going to do this in stages because you don't have to do both. You don't have to do Clockwork2 and Stealthburner. You can do Stealthburner on an existing setup. So we're going to do that first, just to show that it can be done. I have an LGX setup on this, along with a ABBN 30 fan setup. So let's see what's going on in chat. So yep, hi everybody. We got the view count up there. Wow. Hey Wiley, thank you. I see. I was actually intending to do the PTFE trip. I was prepared. So let's start by assembling Stealthburner. Let me get this shifted out of the way. We're gonna do the full soldering LEDs, running the wire channels, and such. So here's my printout of Stealthburner. Some of the print quality on this isn't great. I've got to do some tuning. I think I printed it on this, but that Hilbert curve on the front face, I love that with the silver filament. Okay, so I'm going to shut down the printer because I'm going to recycle the fans here. We're going to talk a little bit about the fan modification that's needed. Afterburner uses a 40-20 fan. Stealthburner uses the same 50-15 fan as ABBN setup, and it also needs the mounting tabs cut off. We're not going to cut them off. You've seen me do that on stream, I hope. If not, there's a previous stream I did it on. So, bridging, I've always, my settings that I use are fairly dialed for bridging. I don't know if you can see in there, but things printed well. NeoPixels we use are the SK6812, which is the RGBW version. They usually come in a grid pattern like this. I think I got 100 of them for some amount on Amazon. Although, if I search for RGBs, I can't find them. My history link for that goes to just RGBs. Torx Fighter, is it me or is the filament used a little more matte than standard ABS? This is Paramount Silver ABS. I don't know. It doesn't look too bad in person. It doesn't look too matte. It's kind of in between, kind of a satin finish. So let's shut down the printer and get this partially disassembled. And then we're going to have to run 3 wires for the NeoPixel, 5 volt ground and signal. We'll run that all the way down to the controller board. Hoping I can put all the connectors under this cover. So this isn't going to be every single little detail of this install. It's kind of an overview and kind of go through. We'll go through a little more detail in soldering up these LEDs and stuff. But on Clockwork, since there are some tweaks that still need to happen. I don't want to go spend a ton of time on little things that might change. So, there goes that piece. And we will need the hot end has to change. Hey Sanity. Yeah, blue names in chat. I didn't know. I got a little scared when I had 50 people waiting in here, and then 100 people like 10 minutes before stream, so I'm a little nervous. Tracy, I gave you some good advice. I'm glad it worked out for you. Okay, so what we really need here is the fan setup for now, and the hot end. Stuff over here. And all of these parts just kind of snap out. I hope all of the wires are of appropriate length. If not, we'll adjust. So, before I go too far, let me make sure that we have 2 members of the dev team that have done an incredible amount of work on this. And that's Bad Noob, who is the creator of the original ABBN30, and Wiley. You see Wiley in chat here. Bad Noob's work on the airflow characteristics of the hot end, and then Wiley making it look fantastic. So I just want to give a shout out to those 2. Hi Maker, thanks. So I did a little bit of prep. I figured I'd save you guys the boredom of me stripping the ends of wires and tinning them. But you will see the actual soldering them onto the NeoPixels, because I think that's the important part. So Joseph Hugh, can you show how NEMA 17 pancake fits on this? Right now it doesn't, but it intends to. So it will require a whole different assembly for that to fit. Right now the little, I think this is technically a NEMA 17, but the 17 millimeter or 20 millimeter thick V0.1 pancake stepper. Yeah, there's a few things that aren't fully baked. The mounts for the different printers, the different options with the tool head, that kind of stuff are what are coming. What is going to take a lot of work, and one of the reasons it's going to go out as beta. It'll go out as it is and get added to over time until it is fully baked, and then we can do it as a full release and incorporate it into all the printers. So I pre-cut these based on my own experience with assembling this a few times. I've got a 75 millimeter wires, 95 millimeter wires, and 105 millimeter wires, and those are 75 millimeters between here, 95 between this one and the status LED, and then 105 going out to the connector. I'm going to use my little vise. I'm going to break off a few of these LEDs, and then just for ease of sliding in where they need to slide, I'm just going to very gently take down the rough edge where those were joined. Just very, very lightly and very carefully. Hi, Mo. So I'm going to assemble the entire LED harness outside of the housing and then place it in. Wiley did a great job of making accessible wire channels, and they are a perfect fit for maybe a little tight, but I don't think Wiley necessarily recommends these, but I'm using 28 gauge silicone insulated wire off of Amazon. Just these a little pack. It comes in 4 or 5 colors. So let me figure out what my best angle on to give you guys a view. Here we go, like this. So these NeoPixels have 6 conductors on the bottom, and that is not, maybe I can get a, there we go. See the arrow directions, and there's a D out, that's the data out, and then ground, and then hidden by my finger on the other side is 5 volt. So one side of this is in, and you'll see right there, D in. Oh. So these are a chain. So you take your power and signal wires in and then out to the next LED until you go in on the last LED. So I'm going to orient this in here. Hi, Johnny Tech, I'm doing well. Let's see what I can, trying to get a good view of the soldering job. And holy moly, the mess of my desk. And there's Charlie. Okay. Let's move. No, the autofocus on this I think is going to fight me. But let's see what we can do. At least give you some. Okay, we are going to start with the longest wires because that goes to my connector. One. And this is on the DN side, so red for power. I just picked yellow for signal, data, black for ground. Nice shiny soldering joints. And then coming out, so it's important for these to come out this direction on the LED. So I'm going to take my next longest wires, and because they go into a little pocket on the tool head, or on the Stealthburner. And all of these come out the same side. Now we take those 3 wires from the out, we get teed up for the in on the next LED. Soldering iron's caught on the desk. There we go. There we go. And the shortest little 75mm wires go to the out. I hope this is a good view. I know the camera, the autofocus on the camera is kind of annoying. Nice and shiny, no cold joints. And then to the in on the last LED. Oop. I'll try to catch up on chat here in a second. There we go. So we end up with a little chain of neopixels. This side will get a 3-pin microfit. Find where to put my glasses. There they are. Okay, where are we at? Let me catch up on chat. Yes, that was Charlie doing the I Am Lonely song. Should only tip your soldering iron before you use it. Yeah, 10K on the soldering techniques. I don't leave my soldering iron on. I turn it off in between, so it wasn't a big deal. It's fine, yeah. Sorry, I'm catching up. Yeah, Sanity, I have this thing though. I mean, it's a little Panavice mount. It's really nice. Some of those printed ones are cool though. Okay. So let's put this in the tool head. So there is a printed part, and there are, I am missing one printed part. So there's two pieces to this, oh no, I'm gonna use the one that's in there. There's two pieces, let me pop it out of there. There's two pieces to the diffuser. There's a diffuser in here for the logo. And so there's this little piece that slots down into a cavity in here and just brings that diffused material closer to the opening of the Stealthburner. So let me put that back in there. That's one piece. And this is probably the most fiddly part of the install, but it's still not too bad. So that gets placed in that little cavity and pushed down. And then there's a LED carrier, and I printed these out of transparent PETG. Sanity, Stealthburner, at least at first, will have a separate manual, and then as it matures and gets into the release of the printers, it'll be incorporated into those manuals. So this is a PETG printed LED carrier, and it acts as a diffuser as well for that logo. So the first pixel in this chain is for the logo. There are a couple of spring-loaded, like this was a bridge that I had to break for that to spring-load, and then the next one is the same thing. And this NeoPixel just pushes up into that cavity. I'm just going to gently push it in there with the screwdriver. Until it's up in there. Yeah, as far as the LED setups, these are addressable. So this is going to be LED 1, NeoPixel 1. And you set that in your firmware configuration, and then you can control them. Clipper has a whole NeoPixel config section. So NeoPixel 1, 2, and 3. And you can say which one you want lit up to what color. Okay. So the next step is to push this piece into its cavity, and that just pushes in right like that to where it's flush with this bottom piece. Now, nice thing that I didn't know at first, Wiley modeled in a little lip to get this thing out. You can put a screwdriver in this little spot and then just kind of pry it out to get it out. Okay. I don't know what camera's going to be best on this. Maybe we'll try this one. And I'm probably not going to get the greatest, but I'm going to snake my way through all these built-in wire management channels. And I'm just going to go one wire at a time. Seems easiest. Oop, I heard that. Pushed on it wrong. That's okay. I'm trying to keep these wires parallel, so I'm putting them in order that they're laying. I'm just going to come over here and this other channel for now to keep them out of the way. Oh, that's where they're going. Okay, so now I have this turning around this way, and then that pixel just pushes into that slot right there. Then I'm going to grab, since this is the way they lay, I'm going to grab that red wire first and get it started through this channel here. I'm going to pull some of this slack back. There's lots of room over here, so if your wires are too long, there's lots of room to bunch stuff up. This is just so nice. Earlier versions of this, as you saw on the stream, had a channel here that was closed, and that would have meant soldering this in place. But now this one just slides in there like that, and that's done. Well, these are out of the way. Got our connector wires poked up here. These will be held in place by the tool head. Let's see. So. See the little extra piece of the diffuser there. Okay, so now let's see if I have to do any modifications to these fans to get them in here. I think what I am going to do is remove this heat shrink that I put in place and just forego it, because I think it's going to keep this from, at least this fan might be a little short. It's set up to, maybe it'll be fine. Let's leave it. I'm going to put the top fan in place. Now on ABBN, here, before I get here, there was an extra piece that was the spring to kind of hold the fan in place. This uses that integrated print-in-place spring. That, but also uses two M3x6 screws to make sure, because on ABBN there's a back plate. This doesn't have a back plate, it's a cavity. So one of my pressures on Wiley was to fix that in place, so we use a screw on each side. So let's put those in. And they just thread into plastic, and they don't have to be tight. They're just WS2812B LEDs, Mo. Yeah, they're just the RGB version. You don't get the white. They're the same form factor. I'll do it. You guys got a glimpse of my wife walking by then. She dropped off a Reese's peanut butter cup for me. Okay, this is going to be a tight fit with these fans. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut that insulation away. Hey. even on camera. Yeah, you don't need to see this. I don't want to have to redo these fan wires, so just separate them. And then this guy just slots in there and follows the wire path. And then this is basically, aside from crimping on that NeoPixel connector, this is basically done. Let's grab some microfit stuff. Yeah, you're Asger, your printing has to be on point for this guy. So it is I mean, there's a lot of hollow space here. This is not a heavy, bulky part. I mean, everything, as you see, everything is hollowed out as much as possible. Wiley spent an extraordinary amount of time perfecting this. I feel like Wiley spent as much OCD perfection time on this or more than I did on Trident CAD. And he did a better job. Let me see, microfit stuff. Microfit connectors out, and I have my 26 to 30 gauge pins. It is a 12 volt Sunon. Caleb, any major improvements over Afterburner? Huge improvements in part cooling. All the work that Bad Noob did and Wiley wrapped around it. That's the biggest improvement. And then the quality of life, if you install those NeoPixels, quality of life is huge. I'm just gonna crimp these on real quick. I'm almost 100 concurrent viewers over my peak before. That's awesome. All the exciting new stuff. Okay, I have a whole setup already done. I want to make sure that I have my wiring order the same as I use on the rest of the printers. And that would be red, yellow, black. Okay. Yeah, they're over there. These tiny 28 gauge wires will not just push into this microfit housing. You just kind of push like a wet noodle, so use a little screwdriver to gently push on the pin from the backside. And there we go. Hold on just a second. Charlie needed out. I'm not too concerned about the YouTuber stuff. I appreciate everybody that's here. This is awesome. I'm not here for this to grow into a giant channel. I'm here because I'm having fun building stuff. So anybody who wants to join me, it's awesome. I like seeing the numbers. I like seeing that subscriber count raise, but I don't have any real goal in mind. So this is purely because there's a lot of content available, a lot of things I can play with, and some stuff is like, I kept putting off doing like a clicky or a mag probe type setup on a printer, and this was good motivation for me to actually try some of that stuff. So yeah, Kilo, he'll be meowing in about 3 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, Charlie likes that in and out game. Let me put these away for now. So the Stealthburner assembly is done. Let's transfer the tool head to the new parts. So this is the ABBN tool head, and I have a Voron Edition Dragon High Flow in here. Is what I ended up putting in, and without any changes, this will go, no wiring changes, all the wire lengths are okay. This will go right into the Angry Eyebrows tool head. The cool thing about this, I mean, obviously the coolest thing about this is that integrated wire cover. No more need for those tiny zip ties on the side of it. Avishai, if this channel grows, which I see it doing so, would you start investing in it more? I'm going to invest as much time and motivation as interests me. So a lot of the video editing stuff, this is why I really like the live streams, and that's all I've been doing is live streams, because there's no editing involved. So we'll see. I mean, whatever happens, happens. But yeah, I'm just having fun. Okay, I already put the heat sets here. We're going to take apart the old tool head and snip these zip ties, get that transferred over, and get the wiring done on the printer for the NeoPixels, and then get that installed and working, and then we'll play with Clockwork2. I think that's the plan. And here comes Charlie again. Powell, I'm sorry, I can't say your last name. we have no patents. We're a bunch of hobbyists having fun playing with printer designs. There's nothing. Everything's GPL3. There's nothing like that. Okay, so we're going to reuse this TTFE tube. Ditch this. Grab the... Yeah, I still want to get a better camera. I want a real camera. I'm not sure what though. I get caught up in all the options. Okay, so this is going to go in here, but this bend is going to have to be coaxed a little more, and I don't want to break that. So I'm going to just carefully try to bend that in the direction into this wire channel. Start by Sorry about the sniffles. Yeah, Wiley, I was looking at, I think this A6400 is the newer version, that A6300. I haven't seen any spectacular Black Friday or Cyber Monday deals yet. The Gecko 99, so the Stealthburner and toolhead, the fan shroud and toolhead setup will bolt on the front of any of the current aftermarket Clockwork, whether it be Bowden, or the Bowden, the Clockwork, Galileo, LGX. All of this assembly here will bolt on to the existing afterburner ecosystem. So the existing Bowden setup can use the improved cooling and lighting. And with the Bowden setup, you have a whole cavity back there for wire management, so it's not as important. Powell, still, I mean, there's no infringing on anything. It's all, as long as they follow the GPL3 license, which is publishing your, what is that not going in for? Oh, there we go. Publishing any improvements, any CAD. I don't know what attribution is required. And where did that other screw go? Did it fall on the floor? I'm missing the other hot end screw. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I need to check B&H. I checked them, I think right before Black Friday. I gotta see what's out there. Hey, Lol. Okay, so there is, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Just not seeing those wires, having them well hidden. Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of people asking. This whole assembly here is not Clockwork2. This is Stealthburner. And if you notice here, you'll see that's where those LEDs get held in. But this is Stealthburner, and this will bolt. We're going to bolt this right onto this printer with LGX in place. So okay, let me put this over here. I'm going to put you on mute because I gotta blow my nose. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, Zero from Austria. Welcome to the stream. Rep up. So there's going to be work on making the toolhead boards compatible with Clockwork2. They're going to be compatible with everything that they're compatible with now when you're just using Stealthburner. So Sanity, all of the afterburner extruder setups, Stealthburner will bolt right to the front of. It doesn't matter what it is. Bowden, LGX, Galileo. As long as they don't change the core locations, and that would be the two fan screw, the screws here, and the two hot end screws. These are the 2x50s you've heard talk about, the M3. The two M3x50 screws here, and then two screws go here. As long as they didn't change those locations, then it'll bolt up. Okay. I need to figure out approximately how much wire I need. Hey Nero. Hey Eddie. Thanks for stopping by. I need to figure out how much wire I need, and I'm just going to grab it off my spool of 24 gauge PTFE. Let's see here. Go about there. This doesn't have to be perfect. Two. Back here. Two down here. And then about. I'm going to end up with extra, but I really don't want to have to redo this. So I'm going to go with that. And we need 3 wires, power, ground, and data. This is a lot of wire. I feel like I've gone way overboard on it, but I really don't want to have to do it twice, so any extra will just end up in my recycle, my extra wire bin. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is take some of my tiny heat shrink tubing and use it to mark the two ends, the ends of the 2 colored wires, so red and yellow. Holy moly. We taught 200 people, guys. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna grab both ends of one wire and put a little piece of red heat shrink on. Use the heat gun on the other side of the shop to shrink it, so just give me just a second. I did not do that on purpose. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me. What the hell? Okay, let's try that. Am I back? And then I hear my other computer going off. You can hear me now. That honestly wasn't on purpose. I thought I hit the button right. Okay, I'm going to crimp the tool head side of this on because I think it'll be a little easier to manage the wires. You got to realize that this is like the third time I'm installing this on a fresh printer. So I've done the wiring on this. So some of this I'm kind of winging it. So what I was explaining before is I think about the probes. I think if Doc said all compatibility, it's all the same compatibility as what would be an MGN12 on Trident, which does exclude the PL08. So there's no change there that would improve compatibility with that. Run out of microfit connectors before too long. I need the pin side. One more. Okay. Just making sure that I'm putting these in the right order. What was that for, Kilo? I'm trying to look at delay. Is there a delay? What do we got here? If you have a delay, just refresh the stream. Is the audio off? Half second delay, so just refresh the page? What do I do here? Let's see what happens. There, is that? Okay, well, we're just going to keep going because I don't know what. Okay. Okay, I do. How many panels do I have to take off on this? I think it's going to be easier to take some of these panels off. This is all. Let's unplug it. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the sound then. Sounds like it's okay for most. That's one thing. Thanks, Eddie. I like my colored LDO frames. The biggest problem is figuring out what print part colors to go with them. So, I think I'm just going to take both sides off and hope I can get away without taking the back off. Nope, that's the bottom. There we go. Let's go ahead and while we're at it, make sure we can get to everything. It's only a few screws. Okay. We need to go. I think I'm going to move that right there. And I'm going to take this PTFE tube and I'm going to run it through the chain. This is a 3mm inner diameter PTFE tube. This is Wiley's suggestion, which is excellent. Excellent suggestion. Okay, so I'm going to take my harness here. I am going to send it through these few links that I didn't get. It's 2, I'm missing a wire. Trying to make sure these stay relatively straight and in line with each other. There we go. Bad News, welcome to the stream. Thank you for your work on here. I got one more link. This can come through. Let's sit about where we're going to want it for these connectors. And then this 3mm inner diameter tube just happens to be about perfect for 3 of these 24 gauge PTFE wires. I think even with my heat shrink on here, but if not, it's okay. Actually be able to see what I'm doing. Well, maybe not with my heat shrink. Maybe not 3 of them. So we'll take 2 of them through at a time. That's fine. Which one am I taking? You know what? This is a reused PTFE tube. Let me cut a fresh. Let me cut the end. Because it might be a little compressed there. Because I'm pretty sure I got all 3 of those in there last time I did it. Maybe not. Okay, I'm going to take 2 through at a time. So shove these in the end and then push them as you pull. And there they are. And once more for the 3rd wire. And that one can just push through, so we make sure that we don't accidentally lose it. One chain. Where are we at? Yeah, this works. This works really well. That would have been a nightmare. I would have had to pull this chain apart and pop the links and push all those wires through link by link and pulling them through. It saves a ton of time. Let's go here. You see that, what I did there? Give myself some room. Here, I'm going to do this. I've got another piece of tubing around here somewhere. I'll just do that. Daniel, could you show where the wires from the XY chain goes down in the Z chain? The XY chain goes down in the Z chain. I'm not quite sure, but I can show you different areas where the wires are going here in a minute. So there are those 2. And let's get the last one. Yeah, down this extrusion here. They're right behind here, and you'll see that. We'll get to that here in just a second. Pull one of these away. Push that through as we pull. And one more. Then we'll be done with this PTFE trick. Move this forward. Let's see here. Okay. Trying to, as I pull these through, I'm trying to make sure it doesn't kink like a garden hose. Okay, so those are done. Now I'm going to make sure I have the proper links here and secure them in the various spots. Make sure they're all the same length. Pop a bunch of zip ties. Get my zip tie box. Interesting. See if I can do this semi-blind. Twist this around so I can actually see. Okay. Now, comes down. I think I can, hoping I can do this without pulling the wire cover. Yep. Okay. All my wire markers are still there. And then I have the chain anchors along the back that I need to snip and replace. Or the wire anchors. One more, and then we can turn the printer over, and oh, this will be fun. We'll figure out how I can deal with this MRW bed mounts, since I can't just turn the printer over. What do we got here? Is Bad Noob abusing his moderator powers? Okay, so the next step is to turn the printer over so I can get these wires going to the controller. I have the MRW match tight kinematic bed mount here, so I'm going to take the extra step of pulling the bed off because it has some pretty good pull, but I don't think it's enough to keep this thing from coming off. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I don't want to pull that off. Oop, I'm going to do this over here. There we go. I think that'll do it. It is quick to disconnect the bed. I have Wagos, I have a microfit, but I want to try this. See if this works okay. See if I regret it or not. I feel like I might have wanted 2 clamps, one for the rear. So let's do that, just to make sure. See if I can get in there. Doesn't have to be tight, just a little clamp. I need a jig. Is that what I need? The kinematic mount is doing what it needs to do. It's one of those things that I feel is going to have to be a long-term test, and then you got to compare it to something else. So a lot of that is just kind of going by, in theory, it works. So then determining whether it's important to you or not. Okay. I don't know exactly how to quantify it without having two identical setups, which I just don't have. Technology justice. Yeah, 3 extra wires is handy. 3 extra wires going to the tool head. Just gonna sneak by here. Make sure I don't get any kinks in the wires. Don't need kinky wires. Oops, I missed one. What do we got here? I got the bottom panel on all my printers. Okay. Let's try to get a little better view here. I got these wires coming out of here, and then I'm just going to kind of follow. And I wasn't too far off. It was about probably 8 inches of extra wire. That's not too bad. Need a bunch of zip ties. And my glasses. I'm gonna grab the other zip ties, the smaller ones. I put that zip tie in without grabbing the 3 new wires. Oops. I'm not going to hit every one of those. I'll come back and clean that up. Just get them connected over here. Now this is Octopus, the Big Tree Tech Octopus controller. So we're going to look up where that plugs in and what the pinout is. Let's see, do I have anything? What's going on in chat? Hey, Pex Peppers. I hope you enjoy your Trident build. I really do. Feel free to reach out if you have any issues. Only have a Trident frame. Lol, you got to get on that Trident. Existent reality. Yeah. Okay. Pin out. So let me figure out this mess I have on my desk, and so we're gonna go to the Octopus Pin Diagram, and I actually opened this PDF so I can actually zoom in, and right here J37 is the RGB LED header. And we've got ground, signal, and 5 volts. And it's just a DuPont connector. So let me grab those and let's crimp up a connector. So let's go here, find my DuPont. I just need a 3-pin, 3x1, and 3 terminals. With this, once this is done, we're pretty close to activating these LEDs, plugging it in. Okay, this heat shrink I put on the wires, I'm going to push it back. And that's one of the nice things about the PTFE insulation, is they slide right on there. So that J37 is right here, and it's just a little header. It's not labeled on the top side what its pinout is, but the diagram on their website here shows us the one closest to the end stops is 5 volts, and then the middle one is the data line. Oops. And the next one is the ground. So I'm just going to grab about yay much wire, get these crimped on. You guys know how much I love DuPont connectors, but that's what it calls for. Oops, sorry. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Let's see. Can you hear me now? Hello? Muted and dark. What the hell happened? Yeah, my GoPro locked up. Okay, you can hear me? Let me reboot the GoPro. GoPro locked up and the sound goes through the GoPro. So I switched it to one of the Logitech cams. I honestly don't know which cam I switched it to. I got all the interaction in this stream. Okay, we may have to do without the GoPro camera. I don't know what's going on. I need to order that new camera. That's what's going on. Okay. Got to do... This is plugged in. It's correct. Let's button it up. I'll try to figure out what's going on. I don't know what I missed. I'm gonna try powering the GoPro back on here in a second, see if we can get that going. Just let it stay off, put it in timeout for a minute. Let's go to this view, just so you don't have to watch that camera bounce around. This mic is louder. I honestly don't know which mic I set it to. It's either the one up here or the close-up. They're both C922s. Sorry about that. I imagine that was pretty loud. Okay, let's try turning the GoPro back on. See if we can... These are the ACM panels on this from Printed Solid. Okay, do we have anything? Or is it a... It's not showing that it's... This is a cam link issue. Then let's try restarting that. I went technology just this. I went through the almost 10-hour switchwire build stream and it didn't overheat. Yeah, give me just a moment, guys. A little bit of patience. Sorry. Does that help on the mic? And Nick, I do have the battery out. There we go. I do have that battery out. So let's go here and there. How's that? Are we doing good? Are we better? We should only have one mic now. Video's back. Reverb. Reverb. Let's try that. Is that better? Are we back? Awesome. Okay. We can plug things in now, right? Let's take our tool head. Push this so this gets pushed. So this little cutout here is not needed when you're running Clockwork2, but it is needed to make sure we can clear everything, I think, on this. There we go. There we go. Tight fit. All around. There we go. And then we're going to plug these in. We've got hot end fan here. Hot fan there. Those kind of sneak off the side. Oh. Oh, and I apparently didn't plug that wire in all the way. Okay, let's get this thing bolted in so it doesn't fall off of there. Which ones are those? It's these. Oh, my soldering job is definitely good. Are the wires good? Volume may be too low. Let me try. I did change that, so let's bump this up a bit. Is that better? Let's see where we're at there, because I did change that when I was trying to fix the Logitech sound. So here's where we get the M3 by 50 screws going to the bottom here. And these are designed to start engaging plastic before they hit the heat set insert. So you want to kind of hold this together as it tightens in so you don't create a gap back there. But what that does is, since these are sunk so far into the front of this, because the way things stack up, it lets you unscrew it to the point where you can get to the screw when you're disassembling it. Okay. The rest of my hardware for Clockwork2. That is on. We are going to, before we button up the panels and put the wire cover on, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit the smaller wire cover on there. I may need to print out the one that Wiley made larger. But we should be able to power it on and try it. Sanity shoulder, these are full thread that I have. I think shouldered would probably be a little better, but I don't think it matters. Okay. No blue smoke. Let's hope for no blue smoke. Let her boot up, and then we'll go through the configuration. So I copied configurations that I've used on the other printers, mostly copied from Wiley's setup. So any weirdness in the macros, you can blame him. Forgot to dry fit. My totally unbiased opinion is Trident is way better than 2.4. And I'm kidding. They're pretty equivalent. I would say Trident is a slightly easier build, a little less complex, fewer things to worry about, but they both are excellent printers that can produce excellent quality. Okay, so printer's on. We have a couple of things to do. We have to note that this RGB header is PB0. See that data signal in the bottom there? That's, oh, it won't let me highlight the whole thing. PB0 is the important part. And we're gonna go over here and reconnect. Yeah, we should always blame Wiley. And for my setup, I put all my controller pin stuff. This isn't, there's some gotchas to doing this. I think you guys have seen this before. I put my controller specific things in a controller config, and then reference it from printer config. There's some gotchas when you do that. So don't just automatically copy this or you might have problems. But down here, I already pasted in the config from one of my other printers that's already set up. So let's uncomment all this. So we have a pin, and that was PB0, right? So PB0. We have 3 LEDs in our chain, and the initial color it's going to start up at is a little bit of red. And then our color order is GRBW for these NeoPixels. And give me a second because Charlie wants out. Okay. So that added it here. We can save and restart and we should get an LED. Now that's not the whole thing, but hey, oh, there we go. Woohoo! Purple. Okay, so let's go back to the config and enable the, so there's a okay, can you hear me now? The GoPro's done. You should be able to hear me now. We should be on the Yeah, GoPro froze again, so we're done. The lighting is terrible. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. Let's go over here. So my setup is the GoPro with a media mod with an external mic, and I have USB-C power going to it. Is that reasonable? There, maybe that'll work. I don't know what to do to improve the microphone. Let me let's see which. I don't know how to tell which one is which camera. It's just labeled 1 and 2. Here, let's try this. Just bear with me. Yeah, it doesn't distinguish between them. Is this reasonable? Let's call it. Does that help? I don't know. We're gonna go with it. I am on OBS, but I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. I'll figure it out off stream, and I'll. The only thing that I can think is different is, so this is what I use. I did accidentally leave this on overnight and then turned it off for a little bit this morning. It may be getting too hot for sure. I'm using the regular OBS, just plain OBS 27.13. Yeah, Sanity, I really wanted to put that to music, but I think you guys know my musical inclination is about non-existent. Plus the tools to do it, it got a little overwhelming. Here, let's try. You're right. Let's try this, Kilo. So which one? Is it coming from this one? Or is it coming from this one? 1 or 2? Super simple fix. Click the wheel on the auto mixer that is moving your mic, then check the mono box. Okay, I want 1, so that's where I want it. Is there a... I don't see a mono box. Oh, it's... Oh, check it? Okay, is that better? They sounded the same. Most people seem to think it was 1, so we'll just go with it. They're within about the same distance from me. And if it's mono now, it doesn't matter, right? So, okay, this is working. We can go to, let's put the build plate back on. And we didn't make any changes. Should be able to go here and turn our nozzle lights on. Look how bright that is. Thanks for the help and patience, guys. This whole setup here is what it is. So that is Stealthburner install. Using an existing Clockwork or Afterburner setup. This one happens to be LGX, but it would work exactly the same with Clockwork 1, Galileo. I don't know what else is out there. The X frame, X Carriage does not change. So we can change our tool head light using the macros. And we can reference these from whatever things you're doing. You can tell it to change the color when it's doing QGL and stuff like that. Dark Neutrino. Can I ask why your bed has cut off corners? Never saw that on a Voron. So this is a custom bed I asked Mandela Rose Works to make. I use a Prusa flex sheet. So I have extra holes in the back with screws that act as locating pegs for the bed. And because it doesn't have any tabs on here, I cut off the corners so I can grab the sheet easy to take it off. See you, Rainer. Okay, so let's look at, what do we got? We're about 2 hours in. Let's look at Clockwork2, assemble it. I don't know if we're going to get to the point where we're installing it on a printer, but we'll get a good look at it. So let's move this out of the way and grab our bits and parts of... Can I dim the lights for a second? Yeah, that's about as... Well, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. We have parts. This cool wire cover. I know these lighting and everything is not ideal anymore for this camera. What happened? There we go. Yeah, that is so nice, and it's really nice with a Revo because the heater block is so much smaller. Okay, so here is the modified X Carriage. It has mounts on the front instead of screws coming from the back to hold the tool head in. Otherwise, it's basically the same. We have Clockwork body, motor plate. This is not going to be a comprehensive how to assemble it, but we're going to play I don't know what I was saying. It's not going to be a comprehensive install, but we are going to get it put together, and because some things might change. So I've got a bunch of hardware. I'm going to start putting the regular BMG drive gear in there. There is a bearing on the back side and down in there. And I'm going to put this together, and I'm going to basically bolt this so there's no manual, so I'm guessing on screw lengths, so kind of holding things up. I could look at the CAD, but it's intuitive enough. It uses the pancake stepper. Just going to go on here, and we're going to orient it where the wires go that way, I think. a little longer screw here. That looks about right. Mr. K82, I think they're in the same spot. So you get a little bit of access to the Vontech gear here, and that's handy for setting this gear mesh. So you have one, I think that's a 30mm screw for one side of the stepper, and then a little 8mm screw that sneaks in here into a slot, and you can access it through the front. So then slightly loose, check my backlash. I think that's about right. Tighten that. Oh, I forgot a part. So here, let's put this together. The guidler. So this is the old guidler. It's now 2 pieces. I mean, this is the new guidler. It's now 2 pieces. It gets held together with I think it's a 16 or 20mm screw through here. And then your idler gear snaps in there like that. And then this clamps on there, but this needs to go in the tool head here. So I'm just going to loosen this screw and sneak this. It's got some indexing pegs. I think I can. I'm going to have to loosen all of this. There we go. So that little guidler carrier gets sandwiched in there. And that guidler goes in there. What was that? That screw there. Like I said, not a guide, more of a, let's see how this thing goes together and get a look at its individual components. This is going to be one of the holes, the mounts for mounting it to the carriage. And the other one is an M8 on the other side. Let's put the shuttle on here. I should have put this on before I put the guidler in there. Yep, I'm creating more work for myself than I need. So let's pull this out. Holy moly, I just dropped all of that. Ansgar 17 or 20mm will fit. I'm not doing this well is the problem. There we go. Nice new little latch. Someone, I think it was Bad Nude, made a suggestion of putting a red insert in here so it's very obvious when it's open and you forget and leave it open. And then when it opens, the whole thing can come out. There's a new cable chain mount. Mounts to the back here. Figure out what screw that is. Wrong length. Huh. What am I missing? Did I use a screw too long somewhere? Huh. I feel like I'm missing a screw. Although I just disassembled it all right here. Oh, that's why. I grabbed the wrong... I had the parts here. This is the 3-hole cable chain mount. I didn't put any inserts in. So, needed that part. That's why it wasn't working. There we go. Now we'll click closed. Then a wire cover sits on here, and then with the lever open, you can get access to the hole through here to screw the wire cover on. I don't know if you can see in there. Jonathan, there aren't any specific this style cover for any of the old tool heads yet. What else do we have? It's pretty much Clockwork2. Now, X Carriage goes together. Now it goes together with 2 of the same length bolt, because we needed a 40mm bolt on the top before, because the bolts going through from the back needed the clearance. Now I can sink that in more and just use a 30mm for both. But that is the carriage, and then Clockwork sits on top there, and then you have both your mounting screws coming from the front there, that 30mm and then an 8mm on the other side that kind of sneaks through the wiring channel area. And then this lifts up and you got all that space for activities. And all of this fits in there. And then there's a button head screw here to there we go. So Jimmer, the Clockwork2 will not fit on the existing Trident carriage, but this is a pretty minor reprint for it to fit. Yeah, I think there should be some way to get that cover around the LGX. It'll have to have a big cutout in the top for this filament tension. So we've got another, I mean, normally I stream for about 3 hours. We've got another hour. Maybe we go through the install process of Clockwork2 on this. What do you think? We want to get Clockwork2 on here? We may not finish, but we can get along the way. Angzar, there wouldn't be any change in belt length. So let's go ahead and do it. So we're gonna go and shut down the printer. I got all the panels off anyway. See if we can do this in under an hour. Wiring cover's off. I don't really want to have to, so here's my motivation. I don't want to have to cram all these wires underneath that old wire cover. Yep. Oh, let's go here. Oh, gotta go this one, because that camera's dead. Jamar, I don't see this as goodbye to Galileo. I'm sure it'll end up getting adapted. And Kilo, I need to put the little underscore in front of them to hide them from the interface, or just turn them off in there. There's some of them I want to be there. I want to be able to have a button to turn the nozzle lights on and off, but much of those can be turned off. I have a feeling some cleaning up of the macros and stuff will happen before full release anyway. Okay. I'm not happy with the way this camera's picking up the light, but we'll do what we can. Okay, so one of the little advantages there, let's see if I can get to them. Oh. Getting to the back of these bolts is a pain in the neck. So I think I gotta pull my top panel off to get to the cable chain. Huge thanks to Wiley and Bad Noob and Kilo and those guys in the crew for being around. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna have to change the X Carriage Sanity. Okay, now I can get to these screws for the cable chain. Let's also turn more shop lights on. Let's try, does that help? I guess it helps a little bit. My other screwdriver. There it is. I'm doing this kind of blind. I am using hammer nuts for the panels. Yeah, this doesn't pick up light as well. I think I'm as good as I can get right now. Woo! Okay. That relieves tension on the belts. And make sure everything is okay. So now we're left with the carriage. Take the probe mount off. And I'm going to split the halves. I'm hoping that this has been on here long enough that these belts will kind of stick to the MGN cartridge and make my job a little bit easier. Just let those kind of stay there. Didn't quite stick, that one. It's close enough. There we go. Belts didn't stick. These ones did. As long as they stay there. Just being very careful not to knock things around. Okay, so all of these I want to be, I haven't bolted the two halves together, so I don't want these tightened down. I'm just slightly loose, and then I can bolt the two carriage halves together and then tighten everything up. Will switching from Afterburner to Stealthburner require rebelting? Well, that's what I'm doing right now. And being very careful, I haven't had to reroute any belts or even really mess with them behind the carriage. Now the rest of this can get tightened up, and it should be all at the same starting tension as before. There. Now we can retension our belt. This one's a little loose, and then we're going to just make sure we are properly a little bit more. Okay, that will work. Put our probe back in. Oh. Holding a little bracket in from behind. Ah, I lost the, oh, wrong screwdriver. Hey, Jimmer, you're the first one that's noticed that in, I don't know how many streams since I've had these on here. Okay. So like Baltoid said, I don't know who you are on Discord, sorry. Stealthburner will bolt up to any previous Afterburner setup. Stealthburner will bolt to a dual MGN9 with Clockwork1 or LGX. It'll bolt up to the Trident MGN12 with Clockwork1. Okay, so new carriage. The only real difference here is these heat set inserts for bolting Clockwork2 on from the front. So I do need to put a connector on this. So let's do a quick and I'm just going to eyeball and guess on the length of these wires. But I think I'm reasonably good at that. for it. Oh. Sorry. Yes. I don't know what the best way I'm gonna need to get into one of the other printers and look at what wire order I did. What do we have here? Oh, hey Tetsu. Thanks. Okay, so which printer is easiest to get to? Give me a second. I gotta figure out what wire order I used on another printer. Red, green, yellow, blue. Red, green, yellow, blue. So. Buy stock and microfit stuff. Red. Green. Yellow. And blue. There we go. What do we got? Jimmer, I'm mostly making sure it's consistent across my printers. That way I don't have to worry about changing things if I move parts and pieces around. So I know looking for the pairs, I'm just making sure I'm consistent on the color order between my printers. Okay, let's bolt this thing. No, we can't do that yet. We need to grab the little tool head screws and put them on. And then I'm going to use the tool head to make sure that they are on just enough so they can slide but not allow any play. Okay, let's see here. Oh, that's the other, I think this is a change in a slight change is the routing on this goes all the way up to the top of the carriage for your probe. That sits on there. I think we need a 30mm here and an 8mm back in here. gonna undo this wire cover bolt. Tool head wiring slips in there. Tool head's on. Stealthburner. Sneak all those wires through that opening. And I have to say, this whole assembly looks so good. The way everything flows and just the whole, all the room you have under the wire cover. Everything matches. So Jason, we'll be releasing the files and a preliminary BOM and a beta manual as a public open beta before Christmas. And then as time goes on, so we're not monopolizing people's time and putting a lot of stress on the dev team to release everything that's needed for all the printers before Christmas. Things will get added as time goes on. And it'll end up being a full release along with in part the assemblies of the printers later. Okay, let's see if I can get a little bit different look here. Okay, so Stealthburner's in. Look at that, isn't that just so clean? Let's put the cable chain back on, hook up all the wires, and be there. Cable chain bolted down. You think it looks like Kenny now, Gareth? You should have. I mean, you probably saw some of the prototypes that Wiley showed on stream. It looked like a gummy bear or Kenny or whatever. Now we just have to plug in all the wires and figure out where they are. What do we have here? Hot end fan. That one goes there. Stepper. What is this? Oh, I think I can. Okay. This is the hot end. This is part fan. We got probe. And NeoPixel. Where did my NeoPixel wires go? Sorry for the back of my head. There it is. I mean, there's so much room there. I spent no time making sure those were all perfect. There we are. So that, I mean, that was 20 minutes. That was 20 minutes to swap that over. That's pretty good. I think before we turn it on, we need a Charlie break. Charlie. So we got a couple of configuration things to change. Once we get it powered back on, we need to change the extruder settings from the Galileo. Extruder calibration, yep. Got to see if it's turning in the right direction. Get our dosage of cat hair all over my workbench again. Okay. Power it on. Officially Charlie approved. And our lights are on. Reconnect. Okay, so in the machine, in my controller config, we are going to put this at, so the big change here is in our rotation distance and the gear ratios. So I'm going to just comment these out, because I don't know what I'm going to end up doing because I'm probably at some point going to want to test any LGX setup still. So let's go gear ratio 50 to 10 now, since we're using the, and that doesn't change. This changes, so rotation distance. Let's comment that out. .22 point something 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 something. Oh boy. So I am going to go over to I don't remember what I use. I generally copy the same value, and it's usually really, really close. And Charlie's causing me to click the mouse. We are 22.67. That's what I use. That'll be close enough. And I don't know if we're going to need to change the direction or not, so we'll find out here in a second. Sanity. This cat does not. He was neutered very early in his life. Let's heat it up and try to extrude some plastic just to see if it's, well, hot end fan turned on, that's good. Oops, that one's. Heat it up and try to extrude some plastic and see if it's going in the right direction. I need some filament. Okay, let's just extrude. Nope, it's backwards. It'd be backwards. Let's go into the machine, go down here, and oops, I scrolled too far. Extruder, direction pin, exclamation point reverses it. Save and restart. You know, DJ, Charlie doesn't care about the printers as far as if one's printing or whatever. I've never found him trying to warm himself on top of a printer or whatever. Maybe he just hasn't discovered it. Okay, so this should be warm enough. We should be able to, let's just go ahead and run the load filament. Yep. There we go. I do not have, so let's just get a real simple, boring print going. Yeah, 100C would be bad. Let's get a real simple, boring print going. Since I'm not gonna, I'll put the panels back on. Panels back on after stream, but we can get something going so it prints, and we can just do a little hangout and chat. Hey, NearQ, thanks for being here. Get away from my coffee. Oh, let's see. Here's the wiring harness I took out of this because I wanted to do a fresh install for stream. So I've got one set up for the next printer. No, this is just my preheat. I don't preheat it full nozzle temperature. Dark neutrino. And this isn't going to get a full, obviously not a full soak. All I'm going to print is a little calibration hollow box. So hopefully I don't have to worry about it. It's probably going to warp and everything, but get something printing. Did he really? That little turd. He likes stealing the cutoffs of zip ties too. Oh, and that was a rubber band. You're right. That's what he stole. He shouldn't eat that. That was from the stepper wiring. Yeah, doesn't this look good? I mean, come on. I don't have anything set up to automatically turn on the nozzle lights yet, so I'm just gonna turn them on. Discord messages going crazy. That's a good question, Sanity. That would be a let's wait and see. Zenbender, yeah, Clicky Probe is absolutely 100% working with the Auto Z Calibrate. I was going to talk about that a little bit as it went through. That wasn't a big deal. I just spent a couple of minutes looking at the docs again and a couple of test prints to dial it in, and it does work really well. It'll go through that process when we start the print here. Radical reel. I don't know what the weight is. It's something we'll need to do, but I haven't put equivalent assemblies together on a scale. Kilo, I have one of the clear E3D fans somewhere. That would probably reflect a lot of the light. Yeah, I have one of these. That would probably go okay in there. Okay, we're just going to go with, get this thing set up. Make sure everything's still working. I haven't sped up my homing moves. I need to. Yves, I'm not going to worry about the panels. Probably going to get this going in the stream in 15 minutes. So a little bit of chatting, watch a print start, go through its little Auto Z Calibrate. Oh, that was almost done. That was 0.008. Got one more round. Well, that was weird. It reverted. Sorry, this is painfully slow. Corey, Pi, the TFT 50, the 5-inch screen. I don't know. I would try searching the user mods. Hey, Max. Hey, I did the whole install. See you, Wiley. Thanks for being here. Have fun with your build. Okay, so let's just start. Oh, this isn't even a... Okay, whatever. It's just a first layer. That's okay. Now it's going to do the auto Z calibrate. Everybody say hi, Max. Say hi, RCF. There we go. This is going to be a super boring print. It's just one layer. But it's printing. So you guys should think of the hardest questions you got for RCF. Now's your chance. Yeah, only 20 minutes to swap the LGX toolhead to the Clockwork2. Yeah, it's extruding. It's stellar black filament, so it's probably not showing up all that great. Martin the engineer, only with a mag probe style. Hey, Carlo. Soon, Golden Jaguar, soon. Figure within a few weeks. This is the third printer I have it set up on. So. Max, I had over 200 people in here at one point. That first layer is going down beautifully though. I know you can't see it. It's camera. Yeah, has anybody heard about Revo pre-orders? They said by the end of November. Is there any word out there on where they're at with that? Because honestly, I have no idea. Just about to get to printing and building the toolhead parts on my Trident 200. Hoping that something cool and bright would actually get released. So I guess it's time for another AVBN 30. Well, it's a very easy swap. You'll already do your 5015 modification, cutting the mounting tabs off. So you'll be able to use the same fan there. KR Barth, this is the Mandela kinematic bed mount. I installed these last stream, I think it was. Maybe the stream before that. It was my lights, my LED light stream, I think it was. They work. What do we got? Dark neutrinos. So the next release of 2.4 is a minor release. It's incorporating changes from Trident, just kind of rolling things together. Part of that will be the MGN12 setup as an official spec build for 2.4. Current Trident parts will directly swap over to Voron 2. As far as the next release, whether this toolhead gets incorporated into that, that's kind of up in the air. Depends on how beta goes and when that gets finished. It might end up being like an R3 release or something. But yeah, this thing, just the lights and the overall, everything flows together. It's the wiring channel from the tool head. Everything is just so nice. I like it. I'm happy with this. Yeah, they kind of blend together, Sven. So remember, the Stealthburner itself, just the cooling and the lights, along with the tool head, will bolt onto any afterburner ecosystem setup. So Galileo, LGX, the original Clockwork, the fan setup with the tool head will bolt onto any of those. So you can get the NeoPixels, you can get the better cooling. Jimmer, on the mag probe styles, there's always stuff in the works. We don't have anything ready right now. I haven't tried anything other than clicky, but I think Monday I have a Euclid probe coming in. That's probably going to go on the green V2 here. So I'll be able to compare and contrast the install and setup for those. I don't know what other options are out there. So Sanity, the Bowden and Y splitter, you would just use the existing ones and just put Stealthburner on it. The nice thing about the Bowden setups that we have is they have a big cavity behind where Clockwork is anyway for managing your wires. You don't have too much that has to stick out of those. So Majij, you have, for the NeoPixel, you have 5 volt ground and data, or signal. Okay. Shaky cam incoming. And look at that Hilbert curve on the fan face. And just imagine with the tiny heater block of the Revo, lighting it up gets much better. And then the focus on the camera going crazy, but kind of cool, huh? Ron is lit. We're going to call it here in another few minutes. So this print will be done. It's just one layer. It's what I was using to calibrate the Z offset macro. James Mackey, for Stealthburner, no, but for Clockwork2 right now, yes. Do we need to, the question was, do we need to convert to MGN12 to use Stealthburner? No, because Stealthburner will bolt onto any Afterburner ecosystem setup. But for Clockwork2, right now it's only supporting the MGN12 X Carriage. Show the cable cover on the side. That help? This is a no bed mesh print. I haven't set a mesh up on either of my Tridents. They're both using the 6mm or 1/4 inch or whatever build plates from Mandela. The other one has the traditional mounting, and this one has their kinematic mounting. Yeah, I did not take any care in making sure that the connectors would fit under there either. I just kind of bunched them up and closed the cover. Hey, Golden Jaguar, glad you like it. Oh, did we lose our music, or did my headset die? Desktop audio is still coming through. You guys still have music? Not that it matters, we're at the end of the stream now, but I noticed I couldn't hear it anymore. There we go. It's a really good first layer. Music is still going. Cool. Okay, guys. Well, once again, thank you. This has been fun. Not quite sure what we're gonna do next weekend, but we'll find something. I'll get it figured out. So, have a good rest of your weekend. I appreciate you being here. This has been a pretty big stream, lots of people. So, have a good one. Bye.